7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello and welcome everybody to Everything Paranormal Podcast Show 2021. This is episode 7 for November 3rd, 2020, which is also election day for a bunch of idiots that don't know how to vote. I'm your host, Paramike, and in the dark dungeon, the dark side news world, is the lovely Paralore. Hello!
Hi!
Good afternoon. She's got some massive stories to read to try to finish off from Halloween that just passed and everything. And then I got some other stories I'll be reading which are fascinating, but also conspiracy as well.
True.
So I'm going to turn it over to you, lovely gothic goddess, for your stories.
Okay. Let's see. Where we left off at, Halloween H2O, the movie. I got some trivia and things and more stuff you did not know about it. Let's see. It starts out, even after 20 years, Jamie Lee Curtis said that seeing Michael Myers on set still scared her. Oh, girl is set. Come on. She's just a fucking character. During the scene where Norma is leaving, she stands in front of the car from Psycho 1960. The music playing in the background at this point is also from Psycho. Janet Leigh, again, mother of Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Norma, in Halloween H2O, played Marion in Psycho. The license plate on the car is also the same as the second car Marion drives in Psycho. NFB 418 is the initials, which are Norman Bates. LL Cool J's line, "Comb your hair," was ad-libbed, inspired by Josh Hartnett's messy haircut. Okay. The movie originally supposed to be a sequel to Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, 1995. Kevin Williamson's original treatment for H2O included a scene in which Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, 1988, which we have already read, Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, 1989, and the sixth film, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, 1995, are all referenced and acknowledged as being in continuity in canon. Take a drink, I already stumbled. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. The scene was filmed, and it involves Sarah, Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, the student at the school where Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, teaches under the name Carrie Tate. Sarah gives a class report on the Haddonfield murders, going into great detail about Jamie Lloyd, Laurie Strode's daughter, from Halloween 4 through 6, played by Danielle Harris, and J.C. Brandy. Sarah mentions Jamie losing her parents in a car accident, as was the explanation in those sequels for Laurie Strode's absence. Her report chronicles Jamie being haunted, words are hard, and eventually killed by her uncle, Michael Myers. And upon hearing this oral presentation in the classroom, a grief-stricken Carrie / Laurie retreats to a restroom in Ralph's. Well, it says vomits, but I'm going to give my own interpretation. Goes into the bathroom and Ralph's into the porcelain god. Williams's challenge was thus to create an explanation for Laurie's death in the previous movies and her subsequent resurrection, while keeping the fourth, fifth, and sixth film in the continuity. He came up with Laurie faking her death and getting into the witness protection program with her son under the alias Carrie Tate. This scene was finally omitted from the final cut of the film together with every reference to Halloween 4, 5, and 6. When it was decided that these sequels would be ignored and the film would directly follow Halloween 2, 1981. Even though there was no longer a direct reason for Laurie to have gone into hiding under a fake name, this element of the original plot remains in the finished film. Talk about saying fuck 4, 5, 6, we'll just do the second one. Makes no sense. Jamie Lee Curtis considers the film a thank you note from her fans. Curtis, without that early career, I truly don't think I would have been an actor. I'm pretty sure you could have found other actors to consider becoming an actor for that reason, instead of just her. I may go out on a limb here, but come on. Jamie Lee Curtis, nowadays, she hasn't really done anything, unless you count NCIS. John Carpenter was originally in the negotiations to be the director, since Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to reunite the cast and crew of the original. It was believed that Carpenter opted out because he wanted no active part in the sequel. However, this is not the case. He had agreed to direct the movie, but his starting fee as director was $10 million.
God damn!
And he wanted a 3-picture deal with Dimension Films. A little fucking greedy, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Carpenter rationalized this by saying the hefty fee was compensation for revenue he never received from the original Halloween 1978 film. A matter that was still a point of contention between Carpenter and producer Mustafa Akid, even after 20 years had passed. When Akid and Dimension Films' Weinstein brothers balked at Carpenter's demands, he walked away from the project. Well, no offense to John Carpenter, but wasn't that real good as a director? Well, let's see. Quite a few of his movies after his original Halloween flopped. And I'm including Carpenter's Vampires in that one. Fucking Christ, can you cast anybody better than the lead actor of John Bon Jovi? Come on. Anyway. However, here's some more. LL Cool J had always been a fan of the Halloween movies. His mother told him to see the original when he was just 9 years old. Nope, I'm going to leave that alone. What Jamie Lee Curtis's character says, "Go down the street to the Beckers." This was supposed to refer to the line from Halloween 1978. Go down the street to the Mackenzie's house. The name was changed to Becker, which was the last name of Drew Barrymore's character in Scream 1996. Which kind of gives the film justice. She dies after the first 5 minutes. Not saying she's probably not a nice person. Her acting, just as bad as Alicia Silverstone. Before he knew Jamie Lee Curtis was involved, Josh Hartnett wasn't sure he wanted to audition. Halloween 7? Is that going straight to video? Or is it that going straight to hell? During the credits in the prologue, Dr. Samuel J. Loomis's dialogue from the first film about Michael's incarceration is heard. The studio was unable to retrieve the unmixed audio from the original scene to reuse, and were forced to tap voice actor Tom Kane to imitate Donald Pleasance, who played Dr. Loomis in the first 6 films. During one of the scenes at school, Charlie, who played Adam Bird, tells Josh Hartnett, 20 years from now, you're still gonna be living with her, probably running some weird motel out in the middle of nowhere. I actually remember that line. This is a reference to Psycho, the 1960 Alfred Hitchcock film starring, Jamie Lee Curtis's mother and fellow H2O co-star Janet Leigh, which we've already talked about. Let's see. Jamie. Janet Leigh's first role in a feature film for 18 years. Her previous theatrical film was The Fog, 1980, which also starred her daughter. And let's see. PJ Soles was originally approached for the role of Carrie Tate's / Laurie Strode's secretary. Soles never gave a straight answer as to what she wanted to do. Skeptical about returning to the series as someone completely different than her character Linda, originally killed off in Halloween 1978. She eventually lost the role to Jamie Lee Curtis's mother, who was approached after not getting an answer from Soles. Well, that's actually her fault. That's PJ Soles' fault.
Shocking.
You either take what you're offered, or it's going to be passed up by someone who hasn't been seen in a movie in God knows how many years. I know that a little too well.
One too many.
In the scene where Janet Leigh's character speaks to Laurie, she asks if she can offer some maternal advice. Which, I'm not repeating myself, the director and writers decided to treat this movie as if Halloween 3 through 6 never took place. This was a decision made to keep the plot simple and focus on the Laurie character. The original working title for the film was Halloween 7, The Revenge of Laurie Strode. A clear pun of Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I'm pretty sure by now everyone knows when that came out. On the television in the girls' room, a clip from Scream 2, 1997 is played. A callback to numerous Halloween, 1978, references a clips in Scream, 1996. However, according to producer Mustafa Akid, when the scene was filmed, the girls were actually watching So I Married an Axe Murderer, 1993. This made for an entirely different joke. A movie featuring Michael Myers had its characters watching the star of So I Married an Axe Murderer, Mike Myers. The clip was changed to Scream 2 in post-production. In certain scenes, Michael can be seen wearing two different masks. The director decided, well into production, to go with a different mask, so certain scenes were reshot. Some scenes, with the original mask, can still be seen. And in one shot, it had to be altered with CGI to replace Michael's old mask with the new one. That was really bad CGI. One of the masks used from Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, was used for the first scene appearance of Michael Myers. It was used during his attack on Marion. But all of his later appearances feature a new mask, sculpted for this film. They had shot the sequence while the studio went back and forth on what mask they preferred. Clark originally owns the mask in question now. How about you figure out what was used to create the original mask and replicate it? Some fucking studio people are fucking stupid. During a 2018 interview with Variety, Jamie Lee Curtis said H2O started out with best intentions, but it ended up being a money gig. No shit! The film had some good things in it. It talked about alcoholism and trauma, but I ended up really doing it for the paycheck. No shit! The shortest Halloween movie in the series, which had a runtime of 86 minutes. So you mean to tell me Child's Play 1998 was actually longer? In the original Halloween, 1978, people, pay attention. Laurie answers a question about fate after seeing Michael outside the high school. In Halloween H2O, Laurie asks Molly a question about the novel Frankenstein, which she answers by discussing the fate of Dr. Frankenstein. Once she finishes, she sees Michael standing in a doorway outside of the school. The line, "Everyone is entitled to one good scare," is said by Norma to Laurie. Sheriff Brackett, played by Charles Cyphers, originally said it in the first Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis recalls Josh Hartnett being someone who wanted to be an actor, but didn't want the trappings of stardom. He would wear a knit beanie on set at all times, remove it to film a scene, and then immediately return it to his head as a way of retaining his personality. And this is what Jamie Lee Curtis says on that one. I respected him for that. It is annoying, but I respected him for it. Okay, if you want to become an actor, but you don't want to end up receiving what's called ultimate stardom, why the fuck are you an actor? I'm asking all of you that are listening, what the fuck is the answer for someone who wants to be an actor but doesn't want the ultimate stardom titles for films? Explain that one. Way I see it, if you don't want the stardom that comes with being an actor, why the fuck are you an actor? That's my answer for that one. My own question. I want to hear what you guys say.
Just email us at everythingparanormal2021@gmail.com.
Michelle Williams had signed on without ever having seen any of the Halloween movies. Obviously, she was a very well chaperoned child growing up, or she was more into the Disney movies and other shit like that. In the Halloween 25 Years of Terror documentary, John Carl Bruchler, I don't care if I said that wrong, I don't care, and Greg Nicotero, it almost sounds like a bad nicotine, or a nicotine patch, of KNBFX revealed 4 completely different masks after you are used throughout the movie. The first one from John Carl Buechler resembled the one from Halloween 6. However, the producers were not satisfied, so they called to Greg Nicotero and had him make a new mask, and filming resumed using it. The mask was replaced again by another one, and at one point CGI. I'm going to leave you guys to figure out which mask is the CGI one. Okay. Jamie Lee Curtis has played Laurie Strode in films released in 5 different decades, from the 1970s to 2010s. The original Halloween, Halloween 2, 1981, Halloween H2O, 20 years later, 1998, Halloween Resurrection, 2002, and Halloween 2018. The newspaper clippings in the beginning were meant to be the only link to Halloween's 4 through 6. After a scene in the classroom where a student summarizes what happened in those sequels was cut, the clippings would have included clues such as mysterious cult, kept murders hushed up in Haddonfield, and Jamie Lloyd missing, with dates such as 1995 and 1989, but in the end, only one headline clue was left in. A picture of a pair of bloody scissors that may have been the ones used to kill Rachel Carruthers in Halloween 5. Jamie Lee Curtis originally wanted Laurie's life to be in a shambles at the start of the film. Executive producer Kevin Williamson convinced her that Laurie would have more to lose. Jamie Lee Curtis, nickname for Chris Durand, Michael Myers, during filming was shapy. Don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be. Originally, Sarah, Jodie Lynn O'Keefe, was written as a bitchy student who was dating Mitch, John Tate's original name. She was also supposed to be the student who wrote a paper on the Haddonfield murders, which would have connected 4 through 6. The phrase, "do as I say," is spoken twice by Laurie while escorting the students to safety. This same line was spoken to the children in the original. The statue of Butterball, the Cenobite from Hellraiser, can be seen on Jimmy's porch while the nurse knocks on his door. According to Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, writer Daniel Farrens, however I said it before, I don't care, who wrote an early draft of the film. There was originally a scene scripted and supposedly filmed where a student in Laurie's class does a report on a book called The Halloween Murders, in an effort to tie all the movies together. This was dropped, however, when it was decided by the director and producers to ignore the 4 through 6, so as to concentrate more on the Laurie Strode aspect of the story. In the film, a clip of scene 2 is shown. Chris Durand, who plays the killer Michael Myers, had an uncredited role as a stunt double for the masked killer in Scream 2. Director Steve Miner also directed 2 films in another popular horror series, Friday the 13th Part 2 and Friday the 13th Part 3. When asked if they gave any thought to who John's Hartnett father was, both Steve Miner and Jamie Lee Curtis say it doesn't matter. If you're trying to explain in interviews about certain logic, your answer shouldn't be it doesn't matter. When Molly is in the classroom, she spots Michael outside the school. It gets interrupted by the teacher, and when she looks again, he is gone. Just like Jamie Lee Curtis in the original Halloween. This is the 3rd time Jamie Lee Curtis has worked with her mother on screen. They both appeared in the same episode of the TV series The Love Boat in 1978, and then The Fog, 1980, which was directed by original Halloween filmmaker John Carpenter. Curtis's stunt double broke her foot during the scene where they're driving the car and have to stop to open the gate. She slammed on the brakes and the anti-lock brakes pushed back on her. Ow. The original treatment for H2O by Kevin Williamson was much more sparse on character detail and had a radically different ending. In the place of Nancy Stevens' character of Marion Whittington. In the trademark Williamson opener, a new character was originally to be created, Rachel Loomis, Dr. Sam Loomis's daughter. She would have the computer files of Laurie Strode / Carrie Tate on her home computer. Rachel would come home to discover her computer on. It would swiftly be dispatched by the Shape. Also, in the climax of the treatment, there is a massive helicopter and a bus chase sequence, culminating in the downed helicopter spinning out of control and decapitating the Shape with its out-of-control rotor, a la Mission Impossible 96. Kevin Williamson was one of the screenwriters hired to write a script after Jamie Lee Curtis agreed to return. And he was said to have actually finished a draft or two with Curtis's input, involving a radically different ending. His vision was not officially used. Well, that's no surprise. But he did several rewrites on set based on his treatment for the movie. That became the final filmed version. Williamson was not credited in the end as per WGA rules, which state that additional writers on sequels had to write at least 33% of the script to receive an on-screen credit. Ooh, that would explain the second screenwriter riot. Not riot. What the hell is that fucking word? Oh, strike, sorry. That's one reason why there was a second writer's strike back then. Is there?
I wonder if it's like that today. With every director, movie maker, and all the other idiots. I wonder if that's still legal today.
After the first, we'll figure after the second writer's strike, I believe it states if you're a writer, you get the same percentage of the script, or I should say half of what the director gets. I could be wrong, but I could have sworn that Don Mancini said that once. Due to the fact he's the writer and now director of it.
Right.
Curtis said in the documentary track for the film of H2O that as far as she is concerned, the movie starts at 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 28 seconds. When Laurie sends the kids for help but stays behind to face off against Michael. Shocker. Contrary to popular belief, Kevin Williamson was in fact not the original writer of the film. Originally, Robert Zappia was hired to pen Halloween, The Two Faces of Evil, which was planned to go direct to video after the modest box office performance of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Zappia's original script was set to a fenced-in boarding school, as does the finished film. However, when Jamie Lee Curtis expressed interest in returning to the series, Kevin Williamson, who was coming off of his blockbuster success with Scream, 96, was asked by Dimension Films to pen a treatment that added Laurie Strode. when the WGA deemed that Williamson did not deserve writing credit on the screenplay, Dimension Films, hoping to market the film as from the creator of Scream, offered Zappia more money to share the writing credit. Zappia declined, so the studio made Williamson an executive producer credit on the finished film. I see why freaking Hollywood is so fucking two-faced.
Bastards!
A subplot involving two detectives, one male, one female, tracking Michael for the murder of Nurse Stevens, was cut from the script. Remnants of the characters remain at the start of the picture, when two random detectives are talking in the home office of Stevens' home. Jamie Lee Curtis is no fan of her film Virus that came out in 1999. It's the worst movie ever made. Well, if it was the worst movie, why the fuck did you do it? Adding that she lobbied hard to get the director fired and replaced with Steve Miner. Shocking. He was available though, as he was working on Dawson's Creek, which is where he met Kevin Williamson.
Dawson taking a leak in a creek?
Who was eventually brought in to work on the film's script. Director Steve Miner had commented on receiving late-night phone calls from Jamie Lee Curtis, worried and complaining about the state of the script. They both agreed that Kevin Williamson's uncredited contributions made for a much better film. I don't know about all that. The school buses used to show how all the school students are leaving for a break were picked up by the studio on the cheap and they didn't come with seats. In one draft of the script, Charlie was intended to be the killer, acting like a Michael Myers copycat. Shocking. Jamie Lee Curtis and director Steve Miner recall lobbying for a brief scene where Laurie Strode gets out of a car and does a double take when Michael Myers walks by, but the actor shut us down. During the commentary track, Steve Miner says he views this as a direct sequel to Carpenter's original Halloween. He later adds that the film needed to end with Laurie killing her brother. Not me and my other brother. The fucking storyline. A plot point that was first introduced in Halloween 2, the 81 version. Michael's mask, which we all know was digitally enhanced. But it was digitally enhanced at 58 minutes and I believe 27 seconds is what I'm looking at for a number, which looked odd according to director Steve Miner on the film's commentary track. No, it didn't look odd, it looked pathetic. The body count for the film is 7 with two off-scene. And I hate the off-scene ones because you don't know what the fuck it is. But you just see two extra dead bodies. Don't drop the freaking knife, yelled Curtis on the commentary as Laurie drops the knife. Yeah, I remember that part in the movie. Okay, this is her own explanation for why she's yelling at a TV. I'm sure all of us have done that at one point.
You still do.
Yeah, but you do more when you're playing your shooting games.
That's different.
Okay, her account of what she yelled. Ah! I could punch her in the nose right now. She adds that they made her drop the knife in the first movie and isn't sure why she didn't learn from that mistake. I don't know how credible you would sound anymore if you're looking at your character and you're yelling at it like it's another person. The teenagers at the beginning are watching Plan 9 from Outer Space, which was a movie that came out in 1957. Jamie Lee Curtis refers to the film as Field of Screams. I think that's a copyright infringement almost on Field of Dreams. But I could be wrong.
It might be.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
That's
now
the one, that's the baseball movie.
that actually called Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
With Kevin Costner.
Yes. Where he's hearing the ghosts of baseball players in his backyard.
Not only
which is
hearing
a
them,
huge
but he's
farm,
seeing them.
which is a huge farm.
Yeah.
And everything, and that was one of the lines in the movie. If you build it, they will come. And he builds this giant-sized baseball field, and ta-da! There's the ghosts of baseball men.
Yeah, I know that. Well, due to the fact this says Field of Screams, it's not really considered a copyright.
It's close enough.
Okay, explain with the Merkins with their musics. They're all parodies
Yeah.
of music that's already came out.
Yeah, I know.
So they got away with it because they changed it up. They changed the title. It doesn't mean it's counterfeit.
Yeah, you can find loopholes in that.
No shit.
Through courts, of course.
That's why I'm saying, now I'm actually seeing Field of Screams. If you build it, they will... The Field of Screams itself is not copyright. But the line, if you build it, they will come, that's in between a line. I don't know what that line is. That's what I was actually not taught in my film class. The majority of John Oatman's original score was rejected late in post-production and replaced with Marco Beltrami's scores to Scream 96 and Scream 2 that came out a year later, and Mimic 1997. Okay, Mimic was stupid. But, okay, I'm going to keep reading here. The producers wanted a darker, more Scream-like score, while Ottman's score wasn't strong enough to fit the bill. Some of what remained of Ottman's score was heavily edited and often was used for scenes for which they were not originally intended. Nonetheless, Oatman's music was later released in its entirety on an album entitled Portrait of Terror from Farseshi Saraband Records.
What a name.
Yeah, but the original score being rejected and replaced with scores that sound too much like Scream. A little bit of a tirade PSA for you. You cannot make a new fucking original score for the theme of a movie if it's not similar to the other ones. Fucking morons. 1 month after the film was released, Jamie Lee Curtis got a star on the Walk of Fame. Oh, look, goody for you. But yet, George Romero has never been able to get one. But she could get one.
Bastards.
PJ Soles was asked to play the role of Norma Watson, which is the same name as the character she played in Carrie, 1976. Charles S. Dotton, originally had a small role in the film as a detective. However, his part was removed as script rewrites came in. That's not a fucking shocker. Molly and Sarah are shown watching Scream 2 when Will, the guidance counselor, checks in on them. A subtle nod to Scream 96 when all the teams at the party, I said teens at the party watched the original Halloween. I actually remember that. Okay. Norma says, to Carrie / Lori that the girl's shower is clogged again. This is a reference to the Janet role in Psycho, where she was butchered in the famous shower scene, which was actually an homage in Seed of Chucky, if you get my drift here.
Yeah, I know.
Only in Seed of Chucky, the bitch don't get stabbed, she falls out of the tub. Chris Durand, who plays Michael Myers, was born in 1963, the same year his character killed his older sister, Judith. When Jimmy's first shown, he's wearing a hockey mask, which was really stupid, which is undoubtedly a reference to Jason Voorhees. Director Steve Miner, who also directed Friday the 13th Part 2 and Part 3 that came out a year later, the latter of which Jason requires his trademark hockey mask from one of his victims. Okay, that explains that one. During the opening credits, there's a yearbook photo with Laurie Strode as part of the class of 78, meaning she graduated in 78. However, in the original film, Laurie was in school during the fall of 1978. Although it's not mentioned what grade she was in, she could have been the class of either 78, 80, she could have been the class of 79, 80, or 81. Jamie Lee Curtis and Jamie Curtis and Michelle Williams bonded over books. Oh, how touchy. And the young actress gave Curtis his first edition. The title is unnamed when they rapped. She is very intellectual. When Carrie / Lori catches Josh Hartnett, pay attention, drives him back to school after he sneaks out the song Enter, Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes is playing on the radio in her car, which is the same song that plays at the beginning of Halloween 2. H2O is the 7th film in the series. H2O is the chemical symbol for water, no shit, which has a pH balance of 7.0. No shit! And I figured that out in my freshman class of physical science. On the day of Adam Henberg's edition, he had a really bad headache. Well, I get those too, but they're called migraines. And they laughed, and he thought he botched the the read because he was so out of it. But his sickness somehow worked to his favor. And director Steve Miner and the producers read his performance as detached and creepy. He landed the role of Charlie. And a few weeks afterward, Steve Miner called him up to say, "We're doing another pass on the script. Now Charles is going to be the horny best friend." To which Adam said, "I've always wanted to play a horny best friend." Nope.
Dude's got issues.
No shit.
I'm sorry, but goddamn.
Kevin Williamson was involved in various areas of production. Although not directly credited, he provided the rewrites and character dialogue, which is seen heavily throughout the teen moments. Miramax/Dimension Films felt his involvement as a co-executive producer merited being credited. Take a drink. I stumbled 3 times in that one. Better yet, chug. If you're driving, wait till you get home. The original script included a subplot which featured Molly as an ugly duckling who was madly in love with John Tate, whose name was originally going to be Mitch. Let's see. Lee Curtis said that they had asked Mike Myers to do a cameo in the movie. Just walking down the street past Lori and she does a double take when she sees him, but he said no. Yeah, because he knew it wasn't about him, you fucking dumbass. And 2, now that I think about it, So I Married an Axe Murderer was a fucking comedy, not a horror movie. And from my knowledge of film school, I've never seen Mike Myers, Saturday Night Live, Austin Powers, and other films.
In Wayne's World.
Yeah, Wayne's World and Shrek. He's never done horror films. He's done comedies to, like, airhead comedy style to kids stuff. Unless he's talking with a Scottish accent.
Aye, laddie, I talk with a Scottish accent.
Productions designer John Willett used Michael Myers' mask to inspire the sets. Willett wanted the exterior of Hillcrest to be calm, while inside it's totally crazy. Just wacko. Michael would be in his early 40s when the actor who played him, Chris Durand, was in his mid-30s. I think on the whole emphasis of Michael Myers of Halloween, it doesn't look like he ages. You don't know if he ages. He's wearing a fucking mask.
Yeah.
Let's see. This is the 3rd highest grossing film of the franchise, according to Box Office Mojo. Mojo. The car that Michael steals from the rest stop area from the mother and daughter is a 1956 International Harvester Travelo. Travelo, however you want to fucking pronounce that one. Most of the film was shot on stage 24 on the back lot of Universal Studios. Ha ha! I was right on that one too. Sorry, Richie.
No, you're not.
Huh?
No, you're not.
I'm reading it. It was filmed on a set lot in Universal Studios, which is located right by where the studio tour tram ride starts. Yeah, this is actual the Universal Studios, not the fucking theme ride parks. Every time the tram would drive by, Adam Hen Bird would run out with his prosthetic neck gash, spilling fake blood everywhere, trying to get a rise out of the tourists. He'd stumble up and try to grab them. They all thought it was part of the show. He was, however, able to orchestrate some really nice gross-out moments at the studio commissary during lunchtime. Well, apparently he did the right job then. He did good. Originally, director Steve Miner wanted Jerry Goldsmith to score the film, having already worked with him on Warlock, 1989, and Forever Young, 1992. Yeah. The score... The person who did the score on Warlock did not do that well. Music from Scream was added, of course, to the chase scenes later on during post-production. Composer John Altman expressed some displeasure about this action in an interview featured on the Halloween 25 Years of Terror DVD release in 2006. Altman's score was supplemented with Marco Beltrami's scores, which I've already mentioned, by a team of music editors, as well as new cues written by Beltrami during the final days of sound mixing on the film. Bob Weinstein demanded the music changes after being dissatisfied with Altman's score. I wonder if there was a lawsuit on that. You got a fucking contract, and someone else decides to change it without you knowing, or changes it without, let's see, I forgot how it was taught to me, but if someone's musical score is wanted by whatever studio or director, if a producer, but it's a producer that decides to change it, disregarding the legal contracts that were signed, that means you owe yourself an appearance in court. And it would not be small claims. The film takes place from October 29th to October 31st, 1998. Let's see. We've already explained Forever Young, which Jamie Lee Curtis first worked with the director Steve Miner, which was J.J. Abrams' first produced script. She approached the Friday the 13th Part 2 director about tackling this film after Carpenter walked away from it. Yeah, leave it to Jamie Lee Curtis to try to save the fucking day. But I would say she's about one third of the problem of the fucking film. That's my opinion. The car Michael steals from Jimmy's house at the beginning of the film is a 1971 Buick Skylark. Okay. At one point in the film, Charlie, Adam Henby Bird, tells Josh Hartnett, that he's becoming an oh god, I'm gonna end up butchering this. Enabler, emphasizing his attachment to his mom, Lori, who has since changed her name to Carrie Tate. As a child actor, Bird, appeared in the movie Little Man Tate. It came out in 1991, where he portrayed Fred Tate, a lonely little boy prodigy with emotional needs only his single mom covers. Okay. That's a little, rinse, that's a little, I'm not even going to pronounce it. Michael's knife, if people are wondering, in this film was a 14-inch Wusthof. I'm not going to spell it. I'm just saying how it is. It's Wusthof.
Close enough.
First film in the series. This is actually the first film in the series to be released in the summer. Every film since including Take a drink, I stumbled. Every film since including Rob Zombie's followed this trend. With exception to Halloween 2018, which came out around Halloween. No official soundtrack was ever released for the film, but a compilation album by John Oatman was released in the United States and Germany under Varese Saraband label and includes the original score by Oatman and numerous other cuts. Talk about you gonna fuck me, I'll fuck you back. The Shakespeare bust. If you don't know what that is, it's a sculpture of someone's head. In the background of the classroom scene where Frankenstein is discussed is the exact same design as the one from Batman 1966, used by Batman and Robin to access the Batcave. And Paramike's over here nodding his head like, yeah, I knew that one. Laurie's revolver, or I should say her gun, in H2O, is a Smith & Wesson Model 36 with a nickel finish. Now, Smith & Wesson do have pretty good guns, just Model 36, I don't know about that. Smith & Wesson 45 is a bit better. Or Smith & Wesson 757. Josh Hornet, who plays John, and Jodie Little-Keefe, who plays Sarah, were both born the same year the original Halloween came out. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays Jimmy, was born when Halloween 2 came out. The original Halloween 2. So wasn't I. And even though it's not connected to Michael Myers, Adam Hen Bird, playing Charlie, was born when Halloween 3, Season of the Witch came out. Who gives a shit? Laurie/Carrie's car, if anyone was wondering, is a 98 GMC Jimmy SLT an S15 or an S-15. I don't know. Paramike's the car person over here, but he's a little bit busy, so I don't think he can add his little comments on that one.
It was a pretty nice car.
Well, was it a car or was it a fucking truck?
It was a car.
Okay.
It was a car at first, and then years later, the manufacturers decided to make it into a gremlin.
Ah.
So it's pretty good cars.
Okay.
It had a 275 with I think it was a 4-liter engine in it with a Holly barrel
Yeah.
for carburetor. Very good car.
Let's see. Adam Henberg's favorite moment during filming was when Jamie Lee Curtis came up to him one day and said, "Steve and I were brainstorming for over 3 hours last night about how best to kill you. We came up with this idea to stick your hand down a garbage disposal. I wanted to just chop it right off and give you this nasty mangled stump. But Steve thought it would be more suspenseful not to. He said, "Thanks, Jamie. So glad to hear you've really got my back. Remind me to send Steve a nice bottle of scotch or something." Yeah, that's definitely sarcasm. Let's see. Only film where Michael gets the least amount of injuries, getting hit and stabbed, with a fireplace poker at the beginning.
Ow.
Axed in the chest, stabbed with a flagpole. It stabbed several times near the end. Although he did get hit in the face with a rock and kneed in the groin, he recovered quickly. I'm sorry. If you're wearing steel-toed boots, it works better to do a kick in the nuts scene.
Oh.
Let's see. Sarah Michelle Gellar, for some odd reason, can be seen on the TV in the girls' room as they watch Scream 2. Wait, Sarah Michelle Gellar wasn't even in the fucking movie. Nor was she an extra. And if I remember correctly, 1997, she was doing Buffy. On one of the newspaper clippings, seen during the opening credits, a picture of Dr. Sam Loomis can be seen. A character was featured in the previous Halloween films and was portrayed by Donald Pleasence. Let's see. The one scene where fans say Michael's mask looked like it was CGI, Chris Duran revealed it's not a CGI mask. I think that was the original mask that they were trying to dirty up to make it look like the Stan Winston mask we ended up with. And they did a little bit of an alteration in CGI to it. And that's what everybody calls the CGI mask. It's not really CGI. It's kind of CG enhanced. But they didn't really do it well. And that was the problem. It was kind of a quick shot, and it was kind of a quick cover. It was a little sloppy. Let's see. We all know what CGI means. CG enhanced means it's CGI'd. Doesn't mean if you try to enhance it to look like it's not. It is CGI. I would know. I learned a lot about CGI listening to Dom Mancini explain it.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually looking at her Wikipedia page.
Be careful. Some Wikipedia pages can be altered.
Yeah, I know, but I don't see that movie in here. Because she started her career in 1984.
Huh?
She began her filming career in 1984.
Yeah.
First movie was Over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Don't know.
And
There was some stuff I didn't watch in the 80s.
I know, but she started it, supposedly was in that movie with Jamie Lee Curtis. What year?
H2O came out, okay. Sarah Michelle Gellar can be seen on the TV in the girls' bedroom as they watched Scream 2. I mean, in parentheses, it says 1997.
Yes, she was in Scream 2. She played Casey C.C. Cooper in 1997 on Scream 2.
Shit, I'm gonna have to go back to watching them then.
And she was also, in that same year,
Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was
I
also
remember
part
she
of
was in
Scream.
that one. Yeah,
So
she
she
gets
did those
killed
two.
off in the middle of it.
Right. So she, because in the first one, I Know What You Did Last Summer, she played Helen Shivers.
Yeah.
In Scream 2, she was changed. Her name was changed to Casey C.C. Cooper.
Okay. Let's see. Robert Forster was considered for the role of Detective Richard Carter, a Haddonfield police officer tracking Michael Myers. Of course, Charles S. Dutton was eventually cast, but the character was dropped from the script before filming began.
Oh, go figure.
That don't surprise much.
Sounds like you got the shit end of the stick.
Well, not really necessarily. I think Dom City explained when he started doing directing with Chucky series, or the Chucky franchise, when he did a little brief directing in about the end of Bride of Chucky and then on becoming the full director. Each movie studio gives a percentage for the film to get made. You can have so many fucking different ideas written down, but studio and basically budgetary restraints will fuck that up.
Yeah.
As well as all previous movies. But Halloween 3, where he doesn't appear, Michael Myers never talks. No shit! Like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers is a fucking mute. He doesn't talk. Since viewers don't actually see Michael kill Charlie, Adam Henbird gets asked at conventions if he thinks Charlie put up a good fight before the inevitable happened, to which he stated, "Charlie is a lover, not a fighter. Although, if he were going to fight for something, it probably would be that corkscrew." Whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. Let's somebody out there let me know what that's supposed to mean. I mean, I get the lover, not a fighter line. I get that if you're trying to get laid in a film, or if that's what your character's trying to do.
Sometimes I wonder with that phrase. It's not a statement, it's a phrase.
Oh, I know that. While the H2O mask was applauded for trying to look more like the original, more like the original films, it was ultimately disliked by audiences, due in no small part to the fact that there were 4 masks used in production. These 4 masks were the K&B mask, the Bruchler mask, Stan Winston mask, and the CGI. The Buchler's mask is the mask used in the opening scene. It was made to look like the mask from Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. The Stan Winston mask is the main mask in the film, and is the mask mostly seen throughout the film. This was used in reshoots to replace the K&B mask in some shots. However, even though this mask looked closer to the original mask, it was criticized for being too tight. Meaning Michael's eyes were often clearly visible. Looking awkward, showing Michael's eyes and having messy hair. The K&B mask can still be seen in the movie, as they originally had that mask but changed it to the Stan Winston mask. The crew had to reshoot his scenes, but many of the long shots still contain the K&B mask. The original K&B mask gets some criticism, as it looked silly and the eye holes were too wide, and a weird hairline that exposed most of his forehead. People said he looked like a Martian. It seemed to be a blue-white color. Others praise it for having an aggressive, scary look. The CGI mask is only seen in one scene, which received negative reactions for being pointless and looking awful. The first Halloween movie has Jamie Lee Curtis in it with Donald Pleasence. No shit! Let's see. Do we have any more in this? No, we don't. Okay. Okay, Halloween H2O is done. The next one is going to be Halloween Resurrection. If I could find the right one.
How did you lose it?
No, I got two of them actually.
Two of the same story, or is it two
No.
but different stories?
It's Resurrection.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. One of them just says here, the one that you sent me. But I'm trying to click on the fucking thing, and it's saying download. Oh, wait. Oh, okay, got it. Screen rant. No, literally. Thing's actually Screen rant. I'm going to take a break. I need to have a cigarette, and I need a quick sip of my soda over here.
Okay.
Huh?
I said, okay.
Paramike is going to do some more urban legends. Because you actually said there's actually people out there liking the urban legends.
Yes. Except when they hear this episode, they're going to be like, hold up, wait a second. What the fuck is he talking about? I guarantee it. You can send your email at everythingparanormal2021@gmail.com and put it in the subject line. What the fuck are you saying?
Okay, before you start, the first two, the second one and the third one, skip the fourth. Because we already did that one prior.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But
Turning
this
it over
one,
to Paramike.
Yep. This one was submitted at October 27th, 2015. Which is about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
This comes from San Diego, California. Earlier this month, an 80-year-old homeless white bearded man was found deceased under an overpass in San Diego, California. Nobody knew the man's name, but friends referred to him as Jesse. Investigators decided to try DNA testing with hopes that something would pop up in the National DNA database. What?
Nationwide, not national.
I'm ad-libbing. What came up on the computer screen in the high-tech lab stunned everyone. The DNA results of Jesse Doe were an exact match to the one and only King of Rock and Roll, Elvis Aaron Presley. Oh boy. And And everybody that I've watched online,
Yeah.
read online, all says, "Oh no, that's conspiracy theory. That Jesse is not Elvis Presley. There's no way in hell."
Well, a lot of people might think when they hear Jesse, they're thinking Full House.
Yeah, I know. No, it's not John Stamos, you idiots. Although when he played Jesse, I don't think his last name was Presley.
No,
It was.
he had a different
something.
name. He, if I remember Full House correctly as a kid, the original, not the Fuller one, which is actually the Fuller one was pretty good. Jesse played almost like an Elvis Presley persona
Yeah,
because of the hair,
yeah.
and he was doing like there was a couple scenes where he's doing like an Elvis Presley impersonator.
I remember that. Going on, lab technician Robert Brinsdale.
Just
Excuse me. Take a drink.
butcher it.
Brinsdale said he and his lab assistant Madeline Hedgepeth, what a name,
Trim the hedges.
yeah, in the path, not the path, but the path, laughed when the name popped up, and in quotations, "We thought somebody, somewhere, somehow, in the system pulled the greatest and most elaborated prank on us ever. We both laughed with hysteria for about an hour." Brinsdale told Jerry Hardin of the Hollywood Word, a new entertainment publication based out of Los Angeles.
Paparazzi scumbag.
Yeah. Brinsdale and Hespreth then went to their supervisor with laughter as if he were the one behind this prank. They were told to simmer down and stay quiet. That this was no laughing matter. From there, the results went up the ladder to the FBI and the CIA. Of course, I like the new terminology for FBI, female body inspector.
Don't bother bringing that bitch up.
Now, weeks later, FBI spokesperson Philip Hunter, wow, what a name, has revealed that the deceased man's body was actually the body of Elvis Presley, who had been in the witness protection programs since 1997.
77.
Oh, 77, sorry. Take a drink. I fucked up on the number. Mr. Presley was placed in the program under a voluntary basis. He was not a witness to any crime or anything like that. Once he had met President Nixon, dirtbag, and also a con artist that screwed over America when he was president. The two became great friends, and Mr. Presley wanted out of his life. He wanted it to be an unknown, so President Nixon made this possible. Yes, it is official. Elvis Presley was really alive all that time, and only a handful of people knew it, most of which are no longer with us. And this comes from Waldorf, MD.
Minnesota.
Now, there's been a lot of conspiracies and everything, and I find it funny on how this story's changed so much. Let's see. Daily Star. Ah, crap. Hold on. Stupid advertisements. Okay. This comes from the dailystar.co.uk. Elvis Presley was found dead in the bathroom of his Graceland home at the age of 42 on August 16th, 1977. Whoever came up with that logic must have been a moron. The king of rock and roll's death was put down by medical professions to his use of prescription drugs. But sightings of Elvis reported after his death have led fans to believe the singer faked his death. And now a recording which sounds like the king has added to the debate. In this clip, unfortunately this radio can't see it, and it's on my laptop, so I can't play it out on the show, but I'll try to sneak it in there somehow.
Yeah.
In the clip, the man is talking about how the FBI protected him from a killing organization, spell check asshole, called the fraternity, I can't even say this word. Fraternity? I can't say this word. Fraternity.
Fraternity.
Thank you. He says, I knew we were in over our heads. We were involved with people who had more power, more authority than anybody we've ever dealt with before. I'm talking major power. Yeah, bunch of corrupt assholes. So in order to protect myself and my family, I did what I had to do. According to author Gail Brewer Giotto,
Just butcher it.
Giotto, I'm going to say that, Giotto. Elvis was going to be killed by the organization, spell check, you dumb bitch. And so the FBI helped him fake his death and go into hiding. In her 1988 best-selling book, Is Elvis Alive?, she claimed the FBI enlisted the singer as an undercover agent in 1976. Bullshit, he was serving the country at that time, before his rock and roll stardom. That I do know. She claimed the hound dog singer acted as a mole within the organization, spell check. But when his identity was revealed, he was put in the FBI's witness protection program to evade vengeful mobster murder. It's got his gravestone here as a picture. I'll try to see if I can get that up on the web. Elvis Aaron Presley, January 8th, 1935 to August 16th, 1977. Son of Varen Elvis Presley and Gladys Love Presley. Father of Lisa Marie Presley. That's what it says on his so-called tombstone. Elvis faked his death because he was going to be killed, and there was no doubt about it. Brewer recently told Time magazine in an interview, this footage was shared on Facebook by a page called Evidence Elvis Presley is Alive, and fans of the singer were left convinced the king was still alive. Wow, one viewer said. Elvis Presley alive? Another comment, Elvis is here with us today. While a third simply said, amazing. This comes as fans spotted a cryptic message on the singer's tomb. And there were several sightings of the singer last year. Elvis would have been 84 on Tuesday. The American was famous around the world in the 50s and 60s for songs such as Can't Help Falling in Love, and suspicious minds. He is regarded as one of the most significant culture icons of the 20th century. So that came from dailystar.co.uk. Now, we're going over to Snopes.com, and they are doing fact checks, which I don't think that has anything to do with the story.
No, it doesn't.
Unfortunately, so I didn't read that. And it says, was the body of an elderly, homeless man identified as Elvis Presley? Ooh, there's one for you.
Huh?
There's a question for you. Many homeless tenants have been found living under freeway overpasses in San Diego, but was one of them really Elvis? Take a drink. I fucked up on that one. Stupid ads. I hate this. And this was February 1st, 2015. It was published on Snopes.com. The body of a homeless man found in San Diego has been identified as that of Elvis Presley. On January 31st, 2015, entertainment website EmpireNews.net published an article reporting that the body of a homeless man discovered in San Diego has been found through DNA testing to be that of singer Elvis Presley. Early this month, an 80-year-old homeless white-bearded man was found deceased under an overpass in San Diego, California. Nobody knew the man's name, but friends referred to him as Jesse, which I already read in the last one. Soon afterwards, links and experts referencing this article were being circulated via social media, with many of those who encountered the item mistaking it for a genuine news article. However, the report was just a spoof of the uniqueness. Elvis is alive, and Elvis faked his death. Rumors that have circulated ever since the singer passed away in, like I said, August of 1977, accompanied by the artificial rendering of what an elderly Elvis might look like. The spoof was published by the Empire News, a site that issues nothing but fictional stories with titles such as "Cure for Cancer Discovered," "Amazingly Simple," says researchers, and "College Student Excused from Classes After Dog-Eaten Grandmother," and "Woman Gives Birth Confesses Doctors by Asking for Maternity." That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
That site's disclaimer notes that Empire News is intended for entertainment purposes only, and a bunch of bullshit, which I'm adding in there. So that was that, but yes, there is a picture on Snopes.com here of Elvis Presley's back between the 50s and the late 70s, and an older version of him, according to skepticals.
Yeah.
And everything. So I'll try to put that up as well. Then we go to actually going to Empire News now. That is so-called fake news. Shocking DNA results revealed body of an elderly homeless man identified as Elvis Presley. This was January 31st, 2015. Same pictures and everything, and stuff I've already have read and everything. But that was about it for that. So between Snopes and Empire News, it reads the same shit. Let's see. Now, a lot of people said, yeah, Elvis is still alive, but a lot of other people saying, no, it's a hoax. He died in 77. No. I knew he was alive. Because how would he serve in the service and then go and pursue a career in music and become the biggest icon ever in rock and roll entertainment? I knew this story was bullshit. That people said he was dead. He's alive! But now he's dead.
Yeah, next thing you know, people are going to say Michael Jackson's still alive.
Oh, I'm waiting to find that one out. I'm waiting for that
I
one.
know for a fact that he fucking croaked. Yeah, that Michael Jackson died, and according to my professor in college, even talked about this as conspiracy titles
Yeah.
within the paranormal, and I actually have to agree with him. If there's a person that goes in a witness protection program, 9 times out of 10, the person in the witness protection program aren't heard from, nor can they find any trace.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying that's bullshit.
Yeah. And DNA labs around the world would not test somebody's DNA to figure out who they are.
Well, if
it's just a doe, they say, fuck it.
Well, back then, but now, yeah, they have to do some type of analysis to figure out who the person is.
Yeah, literally. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. CIA agent confesses to killing Marilyn Monroe. I couldn't find much of other stories on this one to try to collaborate with this, but
Probably not going to.
every other one is just the same as what I'm about to read here. This was submitted May 28th, 2015. A retired CIA officer, Norman Hodges, has made a series of astonishing
Yeah.
confessions since he was admitted to the Centra General Hospital on Monday. Centeras, thank you. The 78-year-old claims he committed 37 assassinations for the U.S. government between 1959 and 1972, including the beloved actress and model Marilyn
Playboy.
Monroe. Huh?
Playboy, not model.
Mr. Hodges worked as a high-level operative for 41 years and was granted top-level security clearance. Trained as both a sniper and a martial arts expert, Mr. Hodges says he also has significant experience with more unconventional methods of inflicting harm upon others, like poisons and explosives. He says he was often employed as a hitman by the organization, oh, here we go again, spell check, you assholes, to assassinate individuals who could represent a threat to the security of the country. Most of his victims were political activists, journalists, and union leaders, but he also claims that he killed a few scientists and artists whose idea represented a threat to the interests of the United States. Mr. Hodges says that Marilyn Monroe remains unique among his victims, as she is the only woman he ever assassinated. He claims he has no regrets. However, as he says that she had become a threat for the security of the country and had to be eliminated. Right, this guy sounds like a psychopath already. Sounds like every other fucking terrorist. We had evidence that Marilyn Monroe had not only slept with Kennedy, but also with Fidel Castro, claims M. Hodges. My commanding officer, Jimmy Hayworth, told me that she had to die, and that it had to look like a suicide or an overdose. I had never killed a woman before, but I obeyed orders. I did it for America. She could have transmitted strategic information to the communists, and we couldn't allow that. She had to die. I just did what I had to do. Hodges has been placed under custody by the FBI, which is taking his confession very seriously and has opened an investigation to verify his allegations. The investigation might be very complex. However, as very few written files are available on such secret activists, and most of the actors implicated, take a drink, I fucked up the word, in the various cases are already dead. This one comes from Castro Valley, California. Now, I try to do more research of this story, on both the main title of it and the other one of retired CIA agent confessing on deathbed, I killed Marilyn Monroe. I couldn't find a whole lot of shit whatsoever, but there was nothing mentioned about Marilyn Monroe knowing high class information that could hurt America.
Allegedly, due to the fact people have heard, grapevine rumors that JFK did have an affair with her. And they thought he might have told her things that were not to be known.
Right.
Or as George Carlin would say, secret.
Right. But now, activists and journalists and union leaders, I highly doubt that, because I couldn't find anything on that one either. It just seems kind of odd that a retired CIA agent could do assassinations, because that's not in their professional repertoire. Because they just don't do that.
Never believe what the government say.
I know, I'm just saying for this story. I just don't believe that. I think this guy was fucking senile. Okay. Next one is Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. I've even looked for this stuff as well. Couldn't find shit, but it just led me to believe that this story was a hoax. But this was issued January 11th, 2013. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846.
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946.
Almost like a century later.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln was elected president in 1860, which he's on the $5 bill.
Yep.
John F. Kennedy was elected president in 1960. Both were particularly concerned with civil rights. Both wives lost a child while living in the White House. See, I knew that fucking house was haunted.
You could have asked freaking Jeff Belanger. He could have told you that.
No, I knew it a long time ago before Jeff Belanger got into the paranormal. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. I don't know about that one.
Well, figure...
That's still a question for me.
Well, rumor has it that that Lincoln was assassinated at a freaking theater.
Right.
On a Friday.
Right.
JFK, well, we don't know when he was assassinated.
Yeah, it was
and it was a Friday.
No, I don't think so.
Guarantee you it's going to be said on a Friday.
I don't know. Both presidents were shot in the head. Wrong! Yep. Wrong. John F. Kennedy, yes. Because everybody saw it on freaking TV and shit.
Yeah. Which is actually the only time back then schools were closed because of something like that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we all know John F. Kennedy was shot in the head because his head exploded in the car on TV.
Next to his wife.
Yeah. By Lee Ozzie Harwald. Or Oswald. Sorry. But Lincoln was not shot in the head.
It's speculated that he was.
Yeah, it's a speculation and a conspiracy because in history, if I can remember correctly, he said that Abraham Lincoln had an arrow shot in his back and died. But this one said he was shot.
Yeah, because the first one was a... Well, also remember, our history teachers, except for the one I had, all were just teaching what they had been taught. They weren't taught the actual shit behind it.
Right.
The only one that actually taught actual sense when it came to history, paranormal, conspiracy, LaForge.
Yeah.
He's the only one that actually made sense.
And
actually made really good points.
Right. But I want to keep trying to find more of this story because it doesn't seem right to me. The word Friday, no. And both presidents were shot in the head. JFK, yes. Abraham Lincoln, no.
Put the question out there for anybody to... in other words, what were you taught back when you were in high school? In college about
or just
Abraham Lincoln being shot in the head.
Right, on a Friday.
Say if you were taught the same thing or you were taught something totally different.
Right. Now it says, now it gets really weird. Lincoln's secretary was named Kennedy. Kennedy's secretary was named Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners.
Yeah.
Both were succeeded by Southerners named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndall Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, was born in 1939. Both assassins were known by their three names. Both names are composed of 15 letters. Now hang on to your seats.
Yeah.
Lincoln was shot at the theater named Ford.
Yep.
Kennedy was shot in a car called Lincoln, made by Ford. Booth and Oswald were assassinated before their trials. And here's the kicker! A week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. A week before Kennedy was shot, he was with Marilyn Monroe. And Lincoln was shot in a theater, and the assassin ran into a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and the assassin ran into a theater.
Yeah.
And this doesn't say where it came from.
That obviously was given by someone that's anonymous.
Yeah, but like I said, I don't believe most of that story. Because Lee Oswald
Yep.
was arrested.
Yeah. Doesn't mean he probably wasn't killed in jail.
Now the other one, I don't know because there's not a whole bunch of what's the word I'm looking for?
Significant
Thank you.
evidence.
Thank you.
Well, one of them we obviously know probably won't find much on him. For example, Lincoln.
Yeah.
He's like way before everyone's time.
Exactly.
Kennedy, on the other hand, even people today know who the fuck he was.
Oh yeah. But as far as I remember in history, Lincoln was assassinated before John F. Kennedy became president.
Yeah, but if you think about it, it's history repeated itself a century later on a different parallel.
Right. That's right, I have to remember that. Alright, listen to the music in the metro. That sounds really corny for a story. Submitted January 10th, 2013. A man sat at a metro station in Washington, D.C. and started to play the violin. Oh, I hate those
Violins. Violins are bad.
It was a cold January morning. He played 6
Bach.
Bach pieces for about 45 minutes.
That's actually Bach. Not Bach.
Bach. I say Bach. During that time, since it was rush hour, it was calculated that 1,100 people went through the station, most of them on their way to work. 3 minutes went by, and a middle-aged man noticed there was musician playing.
Ad-lib. There was a fucking musician playing.
Okay, who sneezed?
Might have been Patches.
Nope, it was Batty. Yes, our podcast kitties are with us again. But 2 are sleeping and 1's going back to sleep. He slowed his pace and stopped for a few seconds, and then hurried up to meet his schedule. A minute later, the violinist received his first dollar tip. A woman threw the money in the till and without stopping and continued to walk. A few minutes later, someone leaned against the wall to listen to him, but the man looked at his watch and started to walk again. Clearly, he was late for work. And I bet you that motherfucker got fired. The one who paid the most attention was a 3-year-old boy. Aww. His mother tagged him along, hurried, but the kid stopped to look at the violinist. Finally, the mother pushed hard, and the child continued to walk, turning his head all the time. This action was repeated by several other children. All the parents, without explanation, forced them to move on. You fucking bastards! How dare you do that to your kids? In the 45 minutes the musician played, only 6 people stopped and stayed for a while. About 20 gave him money, but continued to walk their normal pace. He collected $32. When he finished playing and silence took over, no one noticed it. No one applauded, nor was there any recognition. You bastards. Oops, my computer decided to go nuts. No one knew this, but the violinist was Joshua Bell, one of the most talented musicians in the world. He had just played one of the most
intricate.
Thank you. Pieces ever written on a violin worth $3.5 million. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who the fuck would pay that much for a violin?
If it's played by Joshua Bell, it's gonna be worth $3.5 million.
That doesn't make sense. Just walking to a place and just and it's worth $3.5 million? Are you nuts? This guy didn't even have a name back then.
Oh, he had a name. The way it's looking, he was obviously, might be in the U.S.
Oh yeah, it's here in the U.S.
If he was known as a talented musician, he probably made his name in the U.K. and Europe.
I don't know, but
that's where most musicians started. In the U.S., they weren't recognized right away.
I know, but 2 days before his playing in the subway, why would you go to a subway to play a violin? Nobody likes that.
I don't know.
Joshua Bell sold out at a theater in Boston where the seats averaged $100.
Back then, that was cheap.
That was chump change. This is a real story. Joshua Bell playing incognito in the metro station was organized by the Washington Post as part of a social experiment about
perception,
taste, and priorities of people.
That's why people didn't recognize him. He was incognito.
Jesus Christ. The Washington Post people must be fucking stupid. Seriously. Why would they do an experiment? Getting a famous person named Joshua Bell that plays a violin and everything to do a social experiment for the Washington Post.
Well, if you
couldn't they get somebody else to do that?
Here's my theory. Back then, you didn't have impersonators. And they wanted to see if anybody would have recognized him out in the open instead of just at concerts that he did. There's the comparison.
Yeah, but still, nobody's... If you were going through a subway to catch a subway train to, like, you know, you're starting off at Shittsville Station and you have to get to Big Dick, Little Dick Station at 47th Street, nobody's going to want to listen to a fucking violinist play and figure out, who the fuck is this idiot? Oh,
Bet you 10 to 1.
He's probably just some poor bum trying to play a violin just to get money to get off his feet.
That's probably what they thought, but if you kind of put into theory, the people that ignored him probably showed up at the fucking concert he did and probably said, hey, guess what? I was the person you all ignored. So what's the difference if someone like me that isn't in their tuxedo performing any different from someone that isn't dressed up?
Yeah, but these people were idiots.
People are still fucking idiots. I mean, probably not right now, but most times people see, like, people doing that type of thing is probably New York. And, well, with celebrity impersonators, those are between California, and Vegas.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest fucking entertainment spots.
Actually, there's one more. New
What?
York. New York.
That's what I just said.
No, you said.
I said At first, I said New York, which started to be known for that. Then it migrated to Hollywood, California,
Yeah.
as well as Vegas.
Right. But I was talking about New York, New York.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not New York itself, where Manhattan is. I'm talking New York, New York. They were actually the first original ones to start that, but they moved up to New York itself, where Manhattan was bigger, because
Yeah.
it had a lot more traffic of morons that don't pay attention.
Well, if you actually think about it, New York actually did start the Broadway.
Yeah.
And the reason it went from New York to where Manhattan is, because there's more money.
Right.
New York is okay. It's famous, but it's not as famous as Manhattan is.
Exactly. Goes on here. The outlines were in a commonplace environment at an inappropriate hour. Do we perceive beauty?
Which can be in all types of forms.
Do we stop to appreciate it?
I could answer that one. No, not many people will.
Shit, both answers are no. Do we recognize the talent in an unexpected context?
Here's another answer. No.
No, because no matter where you are in the subway, you're gonna get your ass shot, beaten up, or arrested.
But it doesn't really. Well, if it. Okay, not say like Subway. In a Subway, say like in commonplace environments, not just a Subway. Are people going to actually accept, or actually listen, appreciate it? Most common answer for that is no, because people don't fucking care.
Exactly.
But as soon as they hear, oh, a famous person's going to do a concert, they want to shield money out of their assholes.
That's if they have time.
Oh, back then, I'm pretty sure, due to the fact that type of stuff back then was actually entertainment, compared to what's considered entertainment now.
Right. I mean, entertainment, I can understand if, your train is not there. I could understand that for a little while.
Which I could tell you 10 to 1, back then, the trains were never on time.
True.
They still aren't.
Yeah, that I can understand, and, to get recognized, yeah. Or get money. I could understand that. But nowadays?
No one cares. Unless
everybody's in a fucking rush to get to nowhere.
That, or they're in a rush to buy something that's legal.
Yeah.
And some states.
Yeah, just like in driving, you're in a rush to get nowhere, but yet you get into an accident. You try to blame it on the other person. Well, it's your fault and nobody's there. There was one time I saw somebody trying to blame it on somebody, but it was a telephone pole.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. And I'm thinking either this idiot is on drugs or this idiot is on the wrong schedule of driving.
That was actually my mother. She was actually
No. This was a male.
Oh, it was the male?
It was the male.
Okay. That could be about almost a number of guys in my family.
It goes on, one of the possible conclusions from this experience could be if we did not have a moment to stop and listen to one of the best musicians in the world playing the best music ever written, how many other things are we missing?
Everything, all the above.
Yeah. I don't think I should read that one.
Yeah, no submission.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one up to you too. Is that true for an urban legend, or is that not true? But the meaning of it is basically not explaining what's going on right now in the world, but prior, what was everyone else's excuse? Say, like, back then, all fucking jobs started all at the same time. Now, jobs are all at different times.
Yep.
But people today still don't do that, what that question's saying.
Right, because back then it was, I believe the working times was like 8 to 5.
No. Well, if you're a
Yeah, back
female
then.
and you work in secretary, it was 8 to 5.
No, I'm talking about for everybody back then.
Everybody back then?
It was like 8 to 5.
No.
You had to be at work for 8 o'clock in the morning, work to 5 o'clock. Now it's, in this day and age, it's 9 to 5 jobs,
I don't know.
which is ridiculous.
Well, if you think about it, back then, most of men, which figured back then, mainly men worked, unless you're female, you did other types.
Right.
Men, mostly business guys, would work from 9 to 5.
Right.
Women, which were secretaries mostly, unless they were doing other things, were basically considered working 8 to 5 just to get the office and shit set and ready for their boss.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna give paranormal. Paranormal. I'm gonna give Paramike a little break, and I'm gonna start what Screen Rant says about Halloween Resurrection, which I love the title. Halloween Resurrection has the franchise's worst Michael Myers recon. Okay. And there, might as well say a little bit emphasis on their title. Halloween Resurrection is arguably the worst film in the franchise, and appropriately sports the worst Michael Myers ever. Now, here's some emphasis on it, which I just said because they just kind of redid the first sentence. Having now reinvented its continuity 3 times, the Halloween franchise is one of the most convoluted in horror history. For proof of that, one need only remember the lead heroine, Laurie Strode, has been killed off 3 different times over the years. And no, I'm not saying her name, you already know who it is. And many will die a 4th time before Halloween ends. Credits roll in 2021, which is next year. One of the little nuggets I got for you people after I finish these fucking things. It's a bit hard to quantify the worst recon in Halloween history, if only because there's been so many. For starters, Halloween 2 changed Laurie from a random target to Michael's sister. A change creator John Carpenter has always regretted. Well, you okayed it, so it stuck. In 1995's Halloween 6, Michael is revealed to have become evil thanks to a druid cult. 1998's Halloween H2O, which we just covered, ignores the films 4 through 6, undoing Laurie's first death and erasing her daughter in favor of a son. Rob Zombie's films created their own continuity, while last year's Halloween, 2018, which is 2 years ago, reconned all but the original film. Well, ain't that a slap in the face? Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. Every character confirmed to return in Halloween Kills so far. When it comes to sheer disappointment, though, it's hard to beat Halloween Resurrection, a film already infamous for featuring rapper Busta Rhymes,
Busta!
spin kicking Michael Myers and taunting him with "trick or treat, motherfucker." I still say that's one of the worst stupid fucking lines in a film ever. Topping that on the awful scale, though, is Resurrection's opening, which absolutely destroys the satisfying ending of Halloween H2O in order to make way for a sequel nobody ended up enjoying. Halloween H2O had a perfect ending. This is sort of like continuing, because that's what Halloween Resurrection was for H2O. As with several films in the seemingly undying franchise, Halloween H2O was written as a conclusion to the Michael Myers, Laurie Strode story. After spending the film running from Michael's wrath as her murderous brother claimed more victims, Laurie decided to quit being victimized and took the fight straight to Haddonfield's most unwanted. Michael is eventually taken away in an ambulance, but Laurie rightly knows he won't stay dead. So she follows the vehicle and finishes Michael off for good by slicing off his head with an axe. Hollywood, however, couldn't leave well enough alone, and along came Halloween Resurrection to ruin things. Some more. Let's see. Halloween Resurrection retconned Michael Myers' H2O death. What that means, everybody, let me explain. Since they obviously didn't want to make another Halloween 3 style sequel without Michael Myers, Halloween Resurrection retconned H2O's ending in an extremely stupid way. Resurrection revealed that somehow Michael had switched places with a paramedic and crushed his larynx or thyrex, whatever you want to call that.
Larynx.
Thank you. So he couldn't speak. Though Laurie had killed an innocent man and spent the next few years committed in a mental asylum. Michael then shows up and kills her, marking Laurie's second death. In one fell swoop, Halloween Resurrection undid one of the most crowd-pleasing conclusions in horror history, turned Laurie Strode into a murderer, and brought Michael Myers back to suffer the indignity of killing people on a reality TV show. Thankfully, John Carpenter would eventually return to write the Halloween chip. I don't know about all that much. Okay, that's what Screen Rant wrote on that. And if this damn thing will fucking go backwards. Let's see. I believe I got one more. Yep, I got one more for franchise. Oh shit. Hey there, can you come here and blow this thing up for me? I got some more, one other thing on it, but that's all I could find for Halloween Resurrection. That's what came up. I can't read that. Sorry for the silence, folks. Alright, that works. Jamie Lee Curtis hated the idea of a sequel, as she felt that Laurie had a satisfying ending in the previous film. She initially refused to be in this film, until she ultimately agreed to do her part. Only under the condition that she is killed off in the opening of the film, so as to make sure her character, Laurie Strode, or herself, wouldn't appear in another sequel. At the time of the film's initial release, executive producers Malik Akid and Mustafa Akid tried to explain it by claiming Jamie Lee Curtis was so impressed with the screenplay that she wanted a large part in it. She has stated that was not the case. She was under contract to do it. As was first named Halloween the Homecoming, but producers wanted a title that said Michael Myers is alive, so in February 2002, the film was officially named Halloween Resurrection. John Carpenter has stated that the movie made him cringe. Okay, come here.
Not only am I the host, I'm also the tech.
It won't go any further.
This is the second part here.
That's supposed to be the entire thing, but there's supposed to be more to that. And this is actually one of the ones that you sent to me. Wait, go to the IMB right there. Found it! Got it. Sorry for the delay, folks.
She's not technically inclined like I am.
Funny.
Oh,
I'm only good at researching and past stuff that I used to be able to do. Now, continuing from where John Carpenter stated that the movie made him cringe, Jamie Lee Curtis was quoted as saying she considered this film a joke. That's bad. If the lead fucking heroine of the majority of the franchise says actually considers it a joke, that's bad. Several new endings were written during production, and the cast was never sure how the film was actually going to end. That's actually how to do a film. What's 101? Make sure you have everything that you've written for a script all fucking written and finished. 4 different endings were filmed, and the director wanted the studio to ship a different ending to each theater. That's actually retarded. A technique used before, during the theatrical release of Clue 1985. Okay, so that's where they got that idea from. However, the studio disagreed, and the endings now appear on the DVD and Blu-rays. Originally, the executives of Miramax wanted to continue the series by creating a whole new story, of which didn't have anything to do with Michael Myers after the last film, in a similar manner to Halloween 3. However, poll results conducted throughout fan websites proved to the producers that fans wanted Michael Myers to return once again. Stuntman Brad Lore, a lifetime horror enthusiast and a fan of the Halloween films, plays Michael Myers in this installation. Lore stated that had the series not been rebooted after Resurrection, he would have liked to reprise the role of Myers, as he enjoyed the role, and probably because he couldn't talk, probably because he doesn't talk. We already discussed how many freaking of the films that Jamie Lee Curtis said. The film takes place on October 31st, 2001, and October 31st, 2002. Whatever the hell that's supposed to mean, I have no idea. Maybe you guys can let me know that one. Actors Brent Chapman and Kyle Labine, who have small roles in this movie, went on to appear in Freddy vs. Jason 2003. This makes them the only two people to be in a Michael, Jason, and Freddy film. Bianca Kajilich, however her last name said, cannot scream. And her screams had to be dubbed in post-production. Another thing I was right on, that $200 is starting to creep up interest, bro. This is the second Halloween film to make any sort of reference as to what exactly Michael Myers eats. In the original Halloween, 78, when Sheriff Brackett and Dr. Loomis enter the Myers house, they see something on the floor which turns out to be the corpse of a dog, which I explained when I first started reading the franchise series. Things you did not know. Dr. Loomis simply says he got hungry. Lee Curtis appears on the movie cover with short hair, despite having long hair in the film. If looked at more closely, one can easily tell that it's the same picture of her that was used for the poster of the previous film, H2O. At around 2 minutes, a picture of Josh Hartnett, who played Laurie Strode's son John in H2O, can be seen on the wall above Laurie's head in the sanitarium. The name of the psychology professor of Haddonfield University is Dr. Mixter. This was also the name of the doctor in Halloween 2 that treated Laurie Strode and was killed by Michael Myers with a needle to the eye. Dr. Rick Rosenthal previously directed Halloween 2, which this says 21 years earlier. At the start of the film, an asylum inmate recounts how Michael Myers had stayed out of sight for these 3 years, since Halloween H2O. This places the events of that scene in 2001. The first year to have a full moon occur on Halloween since 1945, which actually we have one this year. While in the asylum, Laurie Strode has Annabelle doll. No, I'm just kidding. Raggedy Ann doll. I ad-libbed that one, everybody. Laurie Strode has a Raggedy Ann doll. There's a reason why I said an Annabelle doll. Look it up. In the original movie, Laurie Strode had a similar Annabelle doll on the dresser in her bedroom. And I'm not saying the fucking Annabelle movie doll. Look it up. In 2015, when being interviewed by Tufab, Lee Curtis has said that this film was a complete joke. And that the only reason why she did the film was because she signed a contract when doing H2O. because that was the only way she could have H2O made. 3 endings were shot regarding the fate of Freddie Harris, who was played by Busta Rhymes. The only film after the original is to begin immediately with the Halloween theme playing over the opening credits. Take a drink and stumble. Coincidentally, the first and last films of the series open the same way. The Resurrection trailer was first seen before Jason X in 2001, which was released on the 26th of April 2002. Now, this was originally set for a release date of September 31st in 2001, but producers of Dimension Films wanted the film to be stronger, so reshoots took place from September to October 2001. Freddie Harris's surname is an homage to Daniel Harris, who played Michael Myers' niece, Jamie Lloyd, in The Return of Michael Myers and The Revenge of Michael Myers. This is the first and to date only Halloween film to be shot in Canada or anywhere outside the U.S. No, I was right on that one too. Sarah says that Michael's knife would be in an evidence room locker, which that was the beginning of Bride of Chucky that came out in 1998, which I have all the films. Michael's mask is shown in an evidence room locker. The only one movie to establish Michael Myers' birth date, October 19th, 1957, which is actually Resurrection. Pay attention. At around another 2 minutes in the first scene of the college, Sarah Moyer, played by Bianca Kajilich, is shown twirling her hair, much like Laurie Strode does in the classroom scene in the original film. The name Jen Denzig is a reference to John Denzig, the former singer and leader of the Misfits, who wrote and sung the songs Halloween and Halloween 2 after the original movie was released. The 2 songs have nothing to do with the movies, because their lyrics do not even touch the main plot. Michael's use of a spiked leg on a tripod as a weapon is an homage to Michael Powell's Peeping Tom, which came out in 1960. Lee Curtis was contractually obligated to be in a sequel, supposedly for a 30-second cameo, but reportedly was so interested in the story that she agreed to do a full 4-day shoot and appeared in the entire opening sequence. However, she has discounted this, and only did it because she didn't want her character to be in any more films, which is another reason to say she thought the film was a joke. Kate Sackhoff, I don't know if I butchered that, but I don't care. I'm just going to say it again.
Nope, you said it right.
I know, I'm just going to say it again. Katie Sackhoff originally was supposed to portray Donna Chang. Sarah states that she is taking Dr. Mixter's course. Dr. Mixter was the ER doctor killed by Michael in Halloween 2. The 81 version, pay attention. I know there's 2 of them out there. Whitney Rancic and Dwight H. Little turned down the chance to direct. Probably because they knew it was fucking stupid. It's implied that Michael Myers stole the 1967 Pontiac Firebird earlier, although it's not shown. The main female lead stops to look at the tow truck with the Firebird as it drives down the street. Ryan Merriman, who plays Miles, and Billy Kay, who plays Scott, were both born on April 10th. I don't know what the dates of the actors were born are about this, but I don't really. But some people might want to know. Jacinda Barrett was originally cast in the role as Sarah Meyer, but dropped it shortly before production began. Again, she probably found something better. It was to be released on April 15, 2002, but pushed back to July 12, 2002. At around 8 minutes, the security camera footage shows Michael walking down a corridor is similar to Halloween 2. When the security footage shows Michael walking down a hospital hallway, both movies were directed by Rick Rosenthal. Miles and Scott dress up as Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction, that came out in 1994. But basically, that's where they got their look from, I guess. The director of Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino, was asked to make The Curse of Michael Myers. However, he declined. In case people didn't really know that. Brad Lorre tried to get the role of the infamous and silent killer Jason Voorhees of the Friday the 13th series for the long-awaited Freddy vs. Jason film. He almost got the role, but director Ronnie Yu wanted a more taller guy who could tower over Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger's character. Lorre's known friends are mostly other members from Stunts Canada, and one known member is Ken Kurzinger, the man who actually got the role of Jason for the movie. Lorena Gale and Katie Sackhoff later went on to star in science fiction series Battlestar Galactica that came out in 2004. Oddly enough, Lorre plays a character who is 4 years older than Curtis's character Laurie Strode, even though in real life, Lorre is 1.5 years younger than Curtis. See, the knife that Michael Myers has in Resurrection is a 12-inch Victorinox Forstner with rosewood handle. The only Halloween film that was actually released in July was Resurrection. Bianca Kajilic was originally cast in the role of Jana Danzig. Resurrection Mask is usually regarded as the best mask of the sequels, Buried Part 4. It was nearly identical to the original mask from Halloween and evoked intense emotion. Yet it did not escape criticism, as it was decried by some for showing too much emotion. Otherwise, reception was mostly positive. Affordable mass-produced replicas of this mask have been produced by Trick or Treat Studios. Despite being billed as Despite being billed as Letter Sweater Guy, the first guy to bust in on Deckard at the party with a young lady is obviously dressed up as Archie from the comics. Notice the freckles especially. Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks were both in Higher Learning in 1995, the same year The Curse of Michael Myers came out. Released the same weekend as Reign of Fire 2002, July 12, 2002. The film's poster, take a drink or stumble, has Laurie reflected on the bottom of the knife, which is also bloodied at the tip. I'm going to say that again. Bloodied at the tip. A sequel titled Halloween Retribution was planned and involved Josh Hartnett reprising his role as John Tate and Lee Brackett seeking revenge for Laurie and Annie's deaths on Michael Myers. But due to the critical backlash, low budget office receipts, and the death of Mustafa Akkad, godfather of the Halloween franchise, they decide to cancel it and go with Rob Zombie's remake to honor Mustafa's legacy with the first 8 films. Now, a director cameo, as some of you guys didn't know, about Resurrection. Rick Rosenthal, at around 16 minutes, played a college professor. Let's see. Some more stuff below may give away important plot points in case you guys didn't know what those were. The film ends with a sequel hook. Take a drink, I stumbled. In fact, I'm going to take one too. The film ends with a sequel hook. That sequel hook, pay attention. When Michael Myers opens his eyes and reveals he's alive in the morgue. Josh Hartnett was originally planned to reprise his role as John Tate for another film and seek revenge for his mother's death. Again, the critical backlash, along with the film, ultimately flopping at the box office, killed off any plans for a sequel. The next film is Rob Zombie's remake of 2007 Halloween. Laurie Strode is only in the film for the first 15 minutes and only says 11 lines of dialogue. Despite this, Curtis still gets top billing as part of the cast. Probably because she was in the whole fucking thing almost. Or almost every sequel. Now, the body count for this one is 10. Plus one character presumed dead, but it's unconfirmed. If you count the bodies from the flashbacks, then the body count is 14. At around 16 minutes at the beginning of the movie, Harold begins to recount the victims of the first 2 films. And he says teenagers were killed, along with 3 nurses and a paramedic. This is completely wrong. 4 teenagers are killed: Annie, Bob, Linda, and Alice. The girl talking on the phone at the beginning of the second movie. 4 nurses, a paramedic, a security guard, a doctor and the officer with Dr. Loomis, as well as the truck driver who was found by Dr. Loomis, which is where Michael got his jumpsuit attire. Okay, so the body count is actually a total of 10 for each film, and add up to each film. So by the time Resurrection came out, it was actually a total of 10. Producers considered Daniel Harris, who played Jamie Lloyd in The Return of Michael Myers and Revenge of Michael Myers, for a role in this film, despite her character no longer existing in the branched off continuity, as the previous film H2O ignores all the films that came after Halloween 2. Even if it didn't, her character was killed off in Curse of Michael Myers. Now, Laurie's death, the explanation of how she never killed Michael Myers in H2O, and the reality TV show angle the plot contains is so revealed by fans of the series. Some wish to ignore this film as if it never existed. In a similar strategy to Friday the 13th Part 4, Jason Lives, this film was titled to imply the killer is alive. Both films ended with a close-up of the killer's mask and his eyes opening. Of all the multiple movie 1980s horror slasher series, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th, Laurie Strode is the only character to be the protagonist since the first, and eventually killed in the last. Nancy Thompson of A Nightmare on Elm Street is killed off in the third movie. It does not appear in the second nor the fourth through sixth films. Alice Hardy from the original Friday the 13th is killed straight away in the first sequel and was not considered Jason Voorhees' main enemy. Tommy Jarvis, who was Jason's main enemy, appeared in parts 4, 5, and 6, but does not die in his last appearance. In one of the different endings for this film, the Resurrection film, pay attention, Brad Lore, the stunt double who plays Michael Myers, can be seen in the clip that shows the burned down garage. Second Halloween movie to have Michael get burned in a fire at the end. First was Halloween 2. Both were directed by Rick Rosenthal. At around 1 hour, 17 minutes, Tara Banks' character's death was cut. You can still see the aftermath in the movie. I would have loved to see her character's death, actually. In that film, that would have made it a little bit better. Michael switching outfits with the paramedic, which is how he survived the previous film, is similar to the producer's cut ending to Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers, where Michael switches outfits with Dr. Wynn. Kane Hodder, in case any of you didn't know, was the Michael Myers stunt double in the film. There's another one I'm right on, Richie. You can't miss Kane Hodder's size. With Laurie's death in this film, the only two recurring lead actors in a horror series to not have been killed by the series killer are Christy Cotton from Hellraiser, who survived 4 battles with the demon Pinhead, and Cindy Prescott from Scream, who survives 4 battles with Ghostface. Oh God, and I'm starting to get that lyric in my head. Yeah. Also, Tommy Jarvis is alive and survived 2 attacks by Jason Voorhees and 1 by an imposter Jason in the Friday the 13th series. But he does not count, as he doesn't appear in every film of the series. Nora Watson, played by Tyra Banks, death scene was originally on screen. Publicity stills and behind-the-scenes photos proved that her death scene was filmed. It involved Michael stringing her up with electrical wire and him repeatedly stabbing her in the abdomen as she struggled, which explains the pool of blood Sarah slips on in the garage. The scene was later cut as a suggestion by Brad Lore, the stuntman who played Michael. As he stated, every horror movie has to have a character find the body of someone you didn't know was dead. Laurie's faking of her catatonic state in the beginning of the film could be a reference to the additional scenes filmed from Halloween's 1978 TV version. The runtime wasn't long enough for broadcast television, so additional scenes seemed to be filmed during the production of Halloween 2 that came out in 1981. One of these scenes included Michael, still as a child, faking a catatonic state, fooling all the doctors at the sanitarium, except Dr. Loomis, into thinking he is not as dangerous as Loomis thinks he is. Most, if not all of these scenes, could be found online. Despite being in contact throughout, it is notable that the heroine, Sarah, and hero Deckard have still never met even at the end of the film. When Michael kills Jim by crushing his skull and blood comes out of Jim's eyes, it is similar to Halloween 2, when Laurie shoots Michael in the eyes at the end, and blood comes out the mask eye holes. And that's it for Resurrection. I can get rid of that one. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. The next one is going to be... Hang on. Let me try to find it here. There we go. The next one is GameSpot.com. And this is Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween remake. 37 things you didn't know about the slasher remake. Rob Zombie was known throughout the 90s as the frontman for rock band White Zombie. But by the 2000s, he had reinvented himself as a horror director. Okay, there's something wrong with that right there. Rob Zombie's brother was the frontman for White Zombie, until he had an accident and Rob Zombie took over. It's hard to kind of figure that one out because Rob Zombie and his brother did sound similar, almost identical, when they sang. But Rob Zombie he was also the frontman of his own goddamn band, which went from White Zombie to Rob Zombie. Okay, he reinvented himself as a horror director. His first two movies, House of a Thousand Corpses, which came out in 2003, that was good. That was good. And The Devil's Rejects, 2005, that was also pretty good. Really good. Won fans with their mix of grueling B-movie inspired horror, over-the-top gore, gaudy visuals, and dark humor. His love of the genre was clear, and in particular, his affection for the groundbreaking movies that emerged from the 1970s. But it wasn't a surprise when in 2006 he was announced as the director of the remake John Carpenter's Halloween classic. By that point, there had already been 7 movies in the Thrasher franchise, not including the standalone Halloween 3. But the previous movie, 2002's Resurrection, was a commercial disappointment and a critical bomb, and it was unclear with what direction the series would go in next. Zombie took the series right back to its roots and delivered his own very specific spin on the classic story. Zombie's Halloween hit theaters in August 2007, and it was a box office hit. But the movie was and remains extremely divisive, which means a little divisive. Some people think one way, other people think another way. It's a film of two halves. The first being an origin story for Michael Myers. I'm right on that one too, Richie. Which showed how his troubled family life helped transform him into a killer. The second half is essentially a compressed remake of Carpenter's film, as an adult Michael returns to his hometown of Haddonfield on October 31st for a night of bloody mayhem. But while many of the events are the same, and all the family characters are in there, the oppressive atmosphere and mix of graphic gore and sex made it unmistakably a Rob Zombie movie. But love it or loathe it, or hate it, Rob Zombie's Halloween, plus its '09 sequel, are a crucial part of the history of this long-running franchise. As with many of Zombie's movies, the home entertainment releases have been packed with bonus material, including an extensive making of documentary and director's commentary. They've been back through the behind-the-scenes material. GameSpot, which is what I'm reading this from, been back through the behind-the-scenes material to find some of the best, most surprising, and fascinating References, Easter eggs, and things you didn't know about the film. And once, which I'm reading, it explains, check out their GameSpot's original guides to original Halloween and H2O. Now, we start the countdown Um, yeah, we'll start the countdown for 37 things you didn't know about Rob Zombie's remake. 2007. Pay attention. Number 1. The movie was shot in the same town as the original. Like the first film, Rob Zombie shot Halloween in South Pasadena, California. The house used for the exteriors of the Myers house was 2 miles from the one that Carpenter used. However, Rob Zombie said he couldn't use it because it was all restored and looking good. Number 2. William Forsythe's leg cast in the movie is real. Or actually, it was real. William Forsythe plays Michael's abusive stepdad, Ronnie. His character's leg is in a cast throughout because shortly before production started, Forsythe had a motorcycle accident and couldn't walk properly. So, Zombie said he was in pain throughout the shoot, and that's why he is sitting in every scene. Number 3. Baby Angel didn't want to cry. The baby playing young Angel / Lori found Forsythe's voice very soothing. Even though Zombie wanted the child to be upset during the argument scenes, he said that she would stop crying every time she heard Forsythe yelling at Sherry Moon Zombie playing Michael's mom. There's another one right on, Richie. Number 4. The kitchen was accidentally tidied. What that means, it was actually clean. The opening breakfast scene in the Myers house was shot on the first day of production. The real kitchen was initially messy, as it appears in the film, but not realizing that's how Zombie wanted it. The art department tidied the whole room ahead of filming. Zombie then had to tell them to put it back how they found it. Number 5. There were 3 Myers houses. Number 5, sorry. There were 3 Myers houses. Okay. Zombie and his team had trouble finding a house that had all the rooms they needed for the various scenes set there. In the end, the exterior, the downstairs, and upstairs scenes were shot in 3 different ones. Number 6. This kid about to read was already famous. Daryl Shabara, who plays school bully Wesley, was best known in 2007 for his lead role in the Spy Kids movies. These scenes were shot in a real school, as Shabara kept getting mobbed by the kids there when they discovered who he was. Number 7. Young Michael loved to swear. Dag Fersh, who played young Michael, loved the scenes where he gets to swear because he wasn't allowed to at home. Zombie said that he kept laughing as he said that dialogue, and you can see him start to crack up a little up. Oh yeah, and you can see him start to crack up a couple of times in this scene. Number 8. This old movie is a homage to the first Halloween. Zombie has the characters watch the 50 horror classic, The Thing from Another World on TV, because that's what they were watching in the original. In a later scene, adult Michael deliberately stops to watch some more of the movie, having missed a lot of it 15 years earlier because he was busy killing his family. Number 9. William Forsythe didn't want a kid to cut his throat. It's your goddamn freaking role. Deal with it. A stunt double stood for Fersh for the scene in which Michael cuts Ronnie's throat, even though Forsythe is wearing a makeup appliance. It still had to be cut open for the blood to flow out. And Forsythe, understandably, didn't want a 10-year-old waving a knife near him. Number 10. This clever shot, which I'm about to read, was actually very simple. The striking plot, shot from the camera moving through what seems to be a freeze frame to Michael sitting in the police car, was designed on the day of shooting. While it looks like a clever use of visual effects, Zombie actually told the background actors to just to stand very still while he moved the camera towards the car. Number 11. A lot of these reactions are genuine. The interview between Loomis and Myers was semi-improvised, meaning Zombie gave Malcolm Dowell and Farsh random things to say to each other without telling each other what they were in order to get genuine responses. Number 12. Zombie had a week to create several seasons. That's not a whole lot of time. The hospital scenes were shot at a veterans hospital in North Hills, California. Zombie only filmed there for a week, but needed to give the impression of many months passing. So he used fake snow, rain, and sunshine for the various brief establishing shots. The rain scene was literally just someone standing to the side, spraying a hose in front of the camera. Hopefully that camera was waterproof, because those cameras are not fucking cheap. What, did you want to stop, or? Because you know how you are when you get hungry.
Yeah, we're going to stop right here. Because I am getting hungry. And 2 cups of fuel doesn't do it anymore to fill my belly up until I decide to get hungry. But unfortunately, it flipped.
Yeah.
So we're going to end it here. We'll pick it up probably tomorrow.
Well, you gotta edit tomorrow. We could do it Wednesday.
Right.
Wait.
Edit. No, today's
Thursday,
Tuesday.
sorry.
Yeah, Thursday. Because I don't think we'll be able to do one Friday.
No, I got an appointment that
But
day.
maybe next week we can.
Well, we could probably do we could do one Thursday. You have to do a little bit editing on Saturday, but we could probably do something for like Saturday afternoon or something.
Yeah, we could. If it works.
It should.
But that's going to end it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Check out our website, everythingparanormal.gear.host/ep.html. Become a fan and everything.
Tell us what you would like to hear.
Yeah, our emails.
Next after I finished all the Halloween franchise trivia stuff.
Yep. The email's at the bottom of the first page on the left-hand side and everything. Got rid of Skype. I forgot to say that before the show. I got rid of Skype because Skype's being Jewish again. But we have a new link through Zoom, so you can contact us through there. If we're not online, don't worry. We will get onto the Zoom and everything when we do a show.
Which is basically everything that people are using nowadays for podcasts.
Yeah.
When they have guests on.
Yeah, I still gotta tinker with that part. Because it's not like Skype where it's easy and you know what you're doing. Zoom's a little different, so it's going to take me a bit to figure it out. But there is a link down there that says contact us on Zoom and everything. That's about it. That does it for me, Parrot Mike. And into that creepy dark dungeon, excuse me, of the dark news side is the lovely Gothic.
I'm Paralore.
And we'll do it for now. Catch you on the flip and keep it paranormal.